Well, I'm speaking English, I'm sorry, but we have very good translation. And I will speak slow, which is a problem for me. I'm really personally very excited about today. I joined UiPath 14 months ago. I was employee 270. We have almost 2,000 today. And one of the first things I noticed was that the fourth most popular country on the UiPath website, in the UiPath community, and on the UiPath Academy was China. At the time, I was able to visit for about 2 weeks in China a year ago when I met Tommy Fung, the one employee we have. And it was amazing to spend time with our partners and Tommy and see us already getting amazing companies as customers throughout China. Today, over, I think, 140, Tom Chen said earlier, which I think is really amazing. And now today, finally, 14 months later, we're able to announce our opening of 3 amazing offices in Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen, and our commitment to localizing our UiPath.com by the end of the year in Chinese, and most importantly, our academy, which is our open, free, self-led training in Chinese by the end of the first quarter of 2019. And I'm incredibly proud of this movement, of this traction. Why are we here today? One thing I should mention, I do want to say also, because many of you are aware of other companies that are in this market. 14 months ago, when I joined UiPath, we were number 3 in the market. The analysts had us at number 3. Our size was number 3. Today, we are 50% larger than Automation Anywhere, and we are double the size of Blue Prism. That's right. 1 year ago, we were half the size of Blue Prism, and by the end of this year, we are 2 times the size of them. And this is because of an amazing product, but it's also because of our open community and our training and our academy, which runs very deep in how we as a company want you to be successful with RPA. And if you look at our competitors, they don't have those, which I think is why we have seen such amazing early traction in China. There were 2 important breakthroughs that made RPA a reality, that made RPA the fastest growing technology in the industry, and that made UiPath the fastest growing enterprise software company in history. The first is computer vision. Tom Chen mentioned that UiPath was founded almost 15 years ago. The company spent about 12 years perfecting computer vision. That's the ability for a robot to look at a screen and interact with the screen just like a human across a variety of applications, and do that with complete, perfect accuracy. The second breakthrough came through in the year 2015 when we created UiPath Studio. UiPath Studio is a design tool which allows you to build your own robot, to automate your own workflow, to automate how you do work, routine work every day without a single line of code, and to do that with extreme power, the ability to integrate AI into an automation by just dragging and dropping. Those 2 breakthroughs, computer vision and the design tool, Studio, is what really opened up the market. Now, many of you may ask, okay, so just in practical terms, what is RPA, right? RPA is the ability to, log into multiple web applications and look at different fields, or look at a Citrix terminal session and be able to identify different elements, to be able to fill in forms, to be able to, to connect to different APIs. Yes, in practical terms, that's what RPA is all about. And it started in the back office. really the big surge for RPA started with CFOs, chief financial officers, who realized that they have significant routine work in the finance operation of their business with lots of people, and they realized that the outcomes, the return on investment from automating was almost immediate, and the payback period on the entire project was less than 6 months. Today, we see significant adoption for automation and robots in the front office, in call centers particularly. That ability to put a robot behind a chat bot so the chat session is more valuable to the end user. The robot can get the information from a variety of sources and make for a more coherent dialogue with the user online. Even in sales and marketing at UiPath, we have 30 robots. It's amazing, but we are able to scale our marketing organization with the use of robots. So robots really are, throughout a business. There's a bigger phenomena that's underlying kind of what's happening technologically. And that is that RPA really is unlocking what we call the last mile of automation. That really hard ability to automate what people do every day, in call centers, in finance organizations. I was with a CFO of a Fortune 10 company recently, and she said that if she has any employees in the finance organization that is not doing data-driven analytics, that's RPA. Now, what's amazing from a technology perspective is a number of the technologies, we've been trying to do automation for many, many years, 2 decades. Automation typically had been done by the IT organization regarding coding. Technologies like BPM, business process management, or OCR, optical character recognition, they've been around for a while. But today, RPA as an industry is more valuable than every BPM company combined worldwide in terms of market valuation. Why? Because RPA builds the workflow of a process, and it can integrate in these technologies. It can integrate in OCR, can integrate in a BPM, can integrate in rules engines. RPA is becoming the path, and Tom mentioned this earlier, the path to AI. We've got some data to prove it, this is working. So again, I mentioned the amazing speed at which UiPath has become #1 worldwide, thanks to many of you. And this is an example of how fast we are adding new customers. We are now adding 6 new enterprise customers worldwide every day. We'll end the year with over 2,600 customers, which is an amazing number of customers to add. This doesn't count our community, where if you're a university and you have students that want to build digital skills, you can use our software for free. If you're a small business and you want to use a robot or 2, you can use our software for free. If you want to build a robot this weekend, you can download software and build a robot right now for free. Very different than our competitors. And that's why we have about 250,000 users now worldwide of UiPath, in addition to the 2,600 enterprise customers. So one thing you might say here is, wow, so how are those customers doing? Here's the next amazing thing about RPA. Unlike most B2B software technologies, the return on investment typically takes a long time, right? The ability to make a customer successful takes a long time. Well, in a recent study that we did with our customers, 78% said they met or exceeded their ROI in the first 6 months. I've been in technology a long time. I've never seen a B2B technology that can deliver a return on investment that fast. Remember earlier I mentioned the design tool. Well, one of the beauties of RPA and UiPath is that a business analyst, a subject matter expert, the expert who does the process every day, they can build the automation. The other big stat I want to share with you, this just came out at the end of September, was our Net Promoter Score. We ask a single question, right? which is, would you recommend us, or how likely would you be to recommend us? And if you come back at 8, 9, or 10, that's a high recommendation. You're a promoter. Otherwise, you're neutral or a detractor. We had a score of 67, which is about the same score as an Apple and other large companies, which is 70 is best in class. We're almost best in class. So here's a company, here's an industry, here's a technology, RPA, and UiPath, of which in such a short time has been able to create a technology that delivers fast ROI with great success and amazing, happy customers. This is probably one reason why we've hosted events like today in Beijing, now all around the world, in the last year for 14,000 people just coming to a UiPath event. That's right. In the last 12 months, when we started doing our first event, we have now hosted 14,000 people in this 1 year at our own events. So I want to talk a little bit about what's going on. There's something bigger that's going on here when it comes to robotic process automation and AI. And that's because we believe, and what we're hearing from customers, and what we're seeing is that there's a new era that's forming. And since the dawn of computing, there have been many eras, right? There's been the era of the mainframe. There's been the PC first era. There's been the web first era, mobile first, cloud first. Many of you are very familiar with these different eras. At the beginning of each era, like cloud first, people said, no way, it's not going to take off. It was disruptive in economics. It was disruptive in speed and agility. Each of these eras had the same thing, where at the beginning there were skeptics, there were major benefits. The business side is what actually drove, not IT, the business side drove many of these, the adoption of these eras. And that's what's happening again today. So three technologies now are three trends are converging. I mentioned earlier computer vision. Robots have eyes, they have the hands, the ability to see the screen. Now we have, you may know the term AI winter, and there have been many attempts at applying and benefiting from artificial intelligence over the last few decades. Now, when you run an automation through UiPath, you can turn that automation, that if-then-else rules-based automation, into an experience-based automation based on machine learning, and you can do that without requiring anyone from IT. That's right, you can actually apply a machine learning model and AI algorithms to an automation running through our platform in a very simple, easy way. There's a great example out here that I imagine Boris Crumry will speak of with SkyMind out front. Some great partners where you can combine their AI capability with our automations running through the UiPath platform, very easy. So what we call this now the summer of AI. And finally, it is about the process. It still is about improving the business process. It's not about business process reengineering, it's about optimizing within the process and finding areas where you can get revolutionary speed, performance, cost gains within a process. These three things are coming together, and they're forming the era that we call automation first. Just like cloud first, just like web first, just like mobile first, automation first will be the discussion in boardrooms and in executive offices for the next 10 years. Which processes are you automating? If you're doing something, are you thinking about automation first? Automation first is not a technology, it's a mindset. It's thinking about automation in everything you do every day. For those of you who are new to RPA, there will be a day when you realize how different this really is. When there's a word, epiphany. When you are in a room and you realize, wow, this is much bigger than I thought in terms of thinking about automating everything we do every day. So automation first is a mindset. The biggest drag right now that's slowing down companies from benefiting from going automation first is conventional thinking. This was the exact same thing that happened with cloud first, where people said, no, I'm not going to the cloud. No, I'm not putting my data in the cloud. No, it's not safe. No, I don't want to share the environment. The economics, the security, the agility, the speed revolutionized how companies access infrastructure. The same thing exists in an automation-first mindset. Conventional thinking is really kind of the enemy here as we begin to think about transforming companies with automation and AI. It's led by the business. It's thinking about using the user interface because it's fast and accurate. API to API for everything is it's costly, it's difficult, it's challenging, it's appropriate in certain times, but the UI is fast and accurate. I mentioned earlier, it's not about business process re-engineering, it's about optimization. It's not about business process outsourcing anymore, it's about robotic economics. The developers here are not IT taking requirements from the business and sending it back. The developers are in the business. They're analysts, they're subject matter experts. And the ROI is no longer 2 or 3 years for automation. It's 6 months, 9 months, maybe under a year. So the benefits of thinking automation first, of an automation first mindset, become substantial. One well-documented area is research is around global productivity, an increase of 75% from automation worldwide, according to McKinsey and Company. The ability to improve job satisfaction, where mundane work becomes automated and you have happier employees. One of the things that's amazing, people always ask, well, what happens to people's jobs when you deploy automation or RPA? And certainly there is a skills shift. But our experience is worldwide, with all of our customers now, is that what they're creating is capacity. What they're doing is actually taking the mundane work out of the human. We often say, unleashing the inner robot out of the human. There was one customer who spoke to the New York Times recently, and she said, robots do the work none of us miss. The robots do the work that we hate. A number of the young generation of employees that are coming into companies, they want to work with robots. They don't want to come in and do the same thing over and over and over and over and over. And so what we see are delighted customers. I was at one government agency, which typically is slower at adopting technology. 30 people sat around in a conference room. One human raced one robot on doing an activity that all 30 employees do every day, all day. And in 15 minutes, the human downloaded 2, what they called artifacts, or pieces of content. The robot downloaded 17. The entire room of lifetime government workers started screaming and clapping, "This is great. I no longer have to do that anymore." That's the epiphany. That's what you realize when you realize what a robot can do for every one of your employees when the mundane work becomes automated. And then what's actually happening is that the net new numbers, this just came out of the World Economic Forum, is that net automation and RPA and digitization will drive 60 million net new jobs in the next 3 years in their Future of Jobs report. And finally, I mentioned capacity. This is the metric people use over and over and over that we see all the time. I've increased my capacity by thousands of work hours. I have 20 employees. Now I have the equivalent of 60 employees because I have robots that do the work of 40 additional. This is what an automation-first mindset is all about. This is the transformation from going digital. This is the realization of the benefits of applying artificial intelligence to a process. So there are three really important tenets that are behind and driving an automation-first mindset. The first, Bill Gates, in 1979, I think, had a vision at Microsoft of one PC for every home and office. I'm sure many of you may recall that. Some of you may be too young, I don't know. But one PC for every home and office. We have a vision that we think is similar in magnitude, and that is a robot for every person. That's right. Every single person of every organization, every employee will have a robot that they work with every day. We already have customers today. A large bank in Japan, SMBC. A large system integrator that's deploying robots to 150,000 employees today. They're thinking about a robot for every person. You will too. The second important tenet of an automation-first era is that the collaboration and the sharing of automations should be open and free. Now, there's intellectual property, there's your own important things that you may not want to share openly. But the ability for you to share automations between people and between companies should be easy. That's what Boris Crumry will show you, our Go platform, go.uipath.com. You can take an automation down, put it in the studio, and instantly benefit from the automation somebody else already created. Not a single competitor of ours has this same mindset. If you want to use the marketplace of a competitor, you have to be a customer and you have to pay for the robot. And finally, the third big thing happening in automation first is that robots are learning skills. They're getting smarter. We're doing more to help them be able to benefit the humans they work alongside. Boris will cover this slide, but this is a really important one. As we talk about the evolution of robots mimicking humans to augmenting humans. Robots are very good today at rules-based actions. If, then, else, do this. They now have stronger visual understanding of what's on the screen. I can look at a picture. I can determine who that is. I can match pictures. They understand documents now that are not just structured. They can be semi-structured documents or even unstructured documents like receipts. They have conversational understanding increasingly with technologies integrated like chatbots. And they'll become increasingly self-maintaining, meaning they will learn how to maintain themselves so you don't have to provide as much maintenance. And ultimately, they will help you make decisions. This is an initiative we call Human in the Loop, where robots work with you and they keep you in the loop and they help you make better decisions. Robots are learning skills. Now, I want to switch gears, talk about how you can benefit from this today. One of the announcements is that we are building automation-first immersion labs around the world, and we'll deploy an automation-first immersion lab in addition to the R&D facility that Boris spoke about in Beijing in 2019. You can bring your company in, you can come in with a partner, and our RPA developers will help automate whatever problems you have today and help you begin to take your journey to benefit from automation first. We're not stopping there with the lab. We're also committing $20 million, and good, it's translated, $20 million in innovation funds to work with you to help solve problems, to work with your partners to help solve big problems that ultimately generate RPA outcomes. I think a quarter of this investment in 2019 can apply in China. That's how big of the opportunity this is today. The Venture Innovation Fund is around working with technology partners to integrate AI and machine learning models in China into our platform to help bring together their AI expertise with our RPA platform. And then our Partner Acceleration Fund. There's amazing partners like Deloitte China that are here today. We can work with Deloitte China and others to help accelerate different outcomes around different business processes, different areas of technology that we can go solve with them and put onto our Go platform and benefit every company within China. No other company in RPA today has anything like this in terms of commitment of money to help speed your journey in RPA and help you adopt an automation-first mindset. I have one slide here I want to show, and Boris will go into it because I don't know in this audience how many people know our platform, but I want to hit a few things. The UiPath Academy, this is the training site you can access today. Build skills, get diplomas, learn how to automate fast. You can do this tonight, and you can begin building robots. This academy has over 250,000 people who are using the academy today. You then download our studio, which is the design tool, on your Windows desktop or on a virtual machine and on a Mac. And you can begin automating workflows and building your automations and digitizing your process. You can deploy then that automation into Orchestrator, which is the brains, where the auditing, where the control, where the credentials management of the digital worker is stored. And the Orchestrator then will trigger robots that could sit on your desktop, that could sit in a private data center, or can sit in a cloud and manage them for you. And then you can share that automation on the platform called Go today, and others can benefit as well. This is the end-to-end world's most widely adopted platform for RPA. And like I mentioned earlier, Academy here will be in Chinese early in 2019. So to summarize, I should mention also, there are two kinds of robots. So when I talked here on robots, I mentioned there are robots that can be deployed on your desktop and robots that can be deployed in the cloud. Typically, a robot deployed on their desktop is called an attended robot. A robot deployed in the cloud is often called an unattended. And the robots, sorry, this is falling off. The robots that are attended typically do front office work. They do work around call centers and around sales and marketing, or might be used in the field for deploying medical professionals during a catastrophe. Unattended robots are used in finance and accounting. They're used in HR. We often see HR onboarding, human resources administration benefits of 80% faster speed with robots, with unattended robots. We are the only platform. I want to leave you with one important thing. The UiPath platform is the only platform that can do both attended automation, or front office, and back office with unattended robots on the same platform, managed by the same orchestrator. And I think that's an incredible, so you're choosing the right partner today, you're choosing the right company to work with, you're choosing the company that cares about open and free training, that's building a community, and making substantial investments in China. And it's been my pleasure to spend this morning with you, and I look forward to meeting many of you today. Thank you very much for your time. 谢谢。